Now that Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon, is finally officially out of early access, that means it's time for some Dom's Roundtable guides. This game is not afraid to let you stumble around in the dark, which I personally adore, but there are many gamers among us who simply don't have the time to do this, and I wouldn't want that to put you off playing this absolutely incredible game. So I'm going to kick off by pointing you in the rough direction of the most important things that you should be doing right at the start of the game in the prison that you find yourself in, which also acts as the prologue and tutorial area. Please note this isn't a step-by-step walkthrough, as I don't want to spoil and dictate your whole experience. I'll just give you some of the key things that you should be doing before you leave and let you explore and experience everything at your leisure. Now, your first task obviously will be picking a class. In fact, saying class maybe isn't the right terminology. The game refers to these choices as playstyle bonuses, because you aren't forced into a specific class in this game. In fact, what you'll probably be doing is changing up your weapons, armor, spells, and other equipment quite frequently throughout the game based on the new, cool, awesome stuff that you'll be finding. Because you find new, cool, awesome stuff very, very frequently. So, sorry, I digress. Long story short, for these playstyle choices at the start of the game, basically pick whatever entices you the most. Because +3 or +6 to a few of these stats really isn't going to make that much difference when you're most likely going to max out every single stat in the game by the late game, or at the very least get them into the high 80s and 90s. So once you've done all of that, and you've looted the corpse outside of your cell so you're no longer naked, turn right and you want to head on over to this dead guard. Feel free to loot everything on the table in front of you, but the two most important things you want are the guard's key, and then in the back right hand corner of this cabinet, hidden in the corner, is this Menhir figurine. You will find many items like this throughout your playthrough, and they are some of the most important items in the game, because they will allow you to permanently increase certain stats, which is absolutely massive. So as you can see, just by interacting with this, my health is going to go from 48 to 53. That is a permanent 5 HP increase, and that is stackable every single time I find one of these statues. Also, in the cabinet on the other side of the room, you will find some lockpicks, and you'll also find some new cooking recipes on the table just here as well. Then you can use these lockpicks to pick your way into this cabinet. Once you finish this stuff, I will let you continue exploring by yourself, and I'll join you a little bit further into the prison as I show you the next most important thing you should be doing. And also, please do note, even though I'll be skimming over all of the actual game mechanics in this video, if you are watching this on release day, I'll be bringing out my beginner tips / things I wish I'd known sooner tomorrow, along with many other advanced tips and hidden mechanics. So make sure you're subscribed and keep your ears and eyes peeled for my upcoming Fall of Avalon videos. Next up, as you're going through unlocking all of these jail cells, eventually you'll come to one where you are taught how to fight, specifically how to parry and how enemy stamina works. So make sure you read through these systems before you engage in the fight. Doing stuff like parrying and blocking is absolutely fantastic because it will raise your blocking stat. Or you can do what you see me doing here, where you dodge backwards before charging up heavy swing, which will level up your evasion. But the most important reason for this section is just where you see this dead red priest here. Use the key to break in, and once you have looted everything, make sure you loot this letter. This old letter is very important because it's going to kickstart a quest line which is otherwise completely missable. This is what I mean about this game not holding your hand and allowing you to go and explore and find everything for yourself. Once you've looted everything in here and started the Unforgettable Quest, you are done, so you can continue on, and I'll meet you in the next area. Once you've made your way to this giant room and you've dealt with the few red priests in here, head up this short flight of stairs and through this corridor, and eventually you'll meet this guy. Now, the reason I decided to get naked before I talk to him is because he has two different dialogue lines based on whether you are wearing some of the red priest's armor or not, and I was just curious exactly what he said if you weren't wearing the red priest's armor set, which I thought was really cool. Anyway, once you are done interacting with him, you will now have unlocked a new NPC. There are many missable NPCs in the game like this, so make sure you are being very thorough, exploring everywhere, and most importantly, leaving every single NPC alive that doesn't need to be killed. Do not do this. Next up, as you get to this fork in the road, head right first because left is a dead end for now. And just as you get down these stairs, you will meet Caradoc again. Feel free to speak to him, but we don't need him for now. Though before we progress to the next area, I am going to do a bunch of cooking because we're about to face our first boss. When you're done equipping things and make sure that you are as powerful as you can possibly be, feel free to interact with this door. And you can now watch the cutscene for the Wailing Effigy. This guy isn't particularly powerful as long as you are good at either dodging or blocking and you remember to assign your healing items. Once he's dead, loot him and go ahead and explore and loot the rest of the room too, and I will meet you in the next important area. Eventually, as you keep progressing through the jail, eventually you can fall down a hole and land in this room here. Head this way first and you will find Sirja. Go ahead and give her a healing potion for a reward. And once you are done talking to her, head back to the room where you landed in. You can lockpick through this door, which I've already lockpicked, and then, rather than going through the door in front of you, carefully climb up these rocks. If you can't quite make it, you might need to crouch jump, because you get just a little bit more height if you crouch jump. And here you will trigger the cutscene for the frantic Berserker boss fight. Now, just stand on top of these rocks and cheese him, because for someone who just punches you, he's a tough bastard, especially because his helm gives him automatic thorns, which means when you hit him, you will take damage. Now, when he's dead, you can loot him, which gives you the Thorns helm, which is a very, very powerful early game piece of armor. And now, if I go in my inventory, you'll see you have a full set of really decent gear, including 2 blue rings, a blue helm, and a blue chest piece already. You are now well and truly kitted out to deal with the rest of the prison by yourself, so start to head up this lift. And now just keep naturally progressing through this area. There's a bunch more stuff to do, but this is the most important missable things, and most of it from here on out is now tied to the main story and isn't particularly missable. So that's all I had for you for this video, my friends. Again, make sure you subscribe. I've got loads of stuff coming up, along with things I wish I knew sooner, mistakes you might be making, build guides, secret areas, and much more. So all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.